Today, we become legends.
So you guys seem to really enjoy my last Titan Talk recap video and found it useful, so here's another one, this time for February 14. I'm still unsure how frequently I want to cover these, but there was a lot of useful information in this one, so let's just jump right in. The Soul Reaver nerf has gone live, taking the passive int scaling from 0.5% to 0.25%. This item was incredibly broken and dodged the balance hotfix earlier this week, so this is good to see. They will continue looking at it though in case it needs more nerfs. Bancroft's Talon is likely coming back in OB4, Anubis mains rejoice. If you aren't aware, this was a mage lifesteal item from Smite 1 that grants more power and lifesteal the lower on health you are. Achilles will be launching on Monday, and there will be flash tests for OB4 with Artemis and some of the other new stuff on Tuesday or Wednesday next week. New aspects are going to be coming soon. Thor and Baron are the furthest along in development, so hopefully we'll see those launch in OB4. Most likely a bruiser aspect for Thor and a full damage aspect for Baron, in my opinion. They gave an update on separating the jump and interact keys and have apparently found a faster and easier way to do it than they initially thought possible, so we will likely see this soon. Probably not in OB4, but soon after that. Someone in chat mentioned if it would be possible to fill players into a game with a DC, but this wouldn't work too well, as most of the time DCs happen is because their team is losing, and filling a player into a losing game would just be very frustrating. Maybe they could do this if a player doesn't connect at all right at the very start of the match, but even in that case, the filled player probably won't get to choose their god, might be at a farm deficit because of the DC. It just wouldn't work for a game like Smite. Buddy Nuar and other Divine Legacy skins were mentioned, and they said that these skins were intentionally changed a little bit for Smite 2 compared to their classic Smite 1 counterparts, but for non-Divine Legacy regular ported classic skins like Fenrir with a top hat, they won't change anything major about their theme or appearance, just visual updates. 5-man ranked queues are likely not coming back anytime soon. You either let 5 stacks play against non-5 stacks and cause huge matchmaking issues, or you only let 5s play against 5s and have extremely long queue times. Awilix's new visual update was showcased. She's looking sleek in my opinion, and we'll get full kit information and see her in game alongside Artemis on the Monday Titan Talk next week, so be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to catch my coverage of that as it drops. They mentioned Brazilian gods and that they have some of them in their book of gods that they pull from, but it's a very, very large list of like 200 gods, so there's no confirmation on if any of them will ever make it into the game, but they are aware of it. Battle passes are unlikely to ever be added to Smite 2 because the Wandering Market serves that same purpose in a better way. They're still working on console store improvements, such as clicking on relic slots to open the relic tab, remembering what item you are building, so when you click on the components or tier 2s you have, it brings you straight to that tier 3, etc. They're having a meeting soon about this stuff, and they know it's a fairly high priority for the UI team. A looking for group feature is something they said will probably be far out and low priority, but is something they will consider doing at some point. For now, there's the Smite Discord, and shameless plug, you can join my community Discord, link down below, and post in the LFG channel to look for people. Music packs will likely be coming back to the game soon, potentially in OB4, but if not, then soon after. To start with, it will just be Smite 1 ports, but only the ones they own the rights to. Some crossover music packs and stuff would need relicensing, so they likely aren't coming back, at least not soon. They mentioned the lane width in Assault and that they're looking for a solution to that. A real Assault map is still likely a ways out, but there's potential for adjusting the Conquest map layout for Assault specifically to make the experience more closely match Smite 1. Adventures are still a long way out, but they did say they want to do them in the future, which is exciting. Travis is still with Hi-Rez, and he took point on most of the adventures back in the day, especially the Hercules roguelike ones, which were my favorites, so I'm excited to see what they could cook with these in UE5. A notification when Vulcan has a mod available is in the works, probably soon as it's not too much work. The Tiki system for jungle camps was mentioned, and it sounded like they didn't want to just directly bring it over. They cited hardcore players enjoying it, but new players getting confused, which does seem a bit strange to me, as I personally think Infamy is a more complex and opaque system in that regard, but I could understand why they might not want to layer Tikis on top of Infamy, as that might be too much for new players. They did mention that they want to bring something similar, but it might not be exactly the same as the Tiki system from Smite 1. Glyphs were mentioned as well, and they seem open to adding them back, but did say they want to flesh out the regular tier 3 item offerings first before looking at anything like that. They also said that the hyper luxury items like Dreamer's Idol or Wish Granting Pearl sort of fill a similar role to Glyphs, but not quite the same. No tier 5 skins are currently in development for Smite 2. There are simply more important things to be working on at the moment. They do have a few concepts though. OB4 is likely going to be the launch of chests, which probably means the new store page will be coming around a similar time. Take of that what you will, but the vast majority of skins obtained in Smite 1 were through chests, so players do choose to purchase them over direct purchase most of the time. Some new skins for OB4 were teased as well. In terms of of classic skins, Foxy Amaterasu, La Roca Hercules, and Baron Frostchild Ymir are coming. And in terms of cross-gen skins, we have Summer Fun Medusa, Hellforge Thor, Lil Bite Sobek, Nanomancer Baron Samdi, and Bossman Danzaburo. They mentioned crossovers are being talked about behind the scenes but weren't focused on too much because of the skin hiatus, but they of course do plan to do crossover events going forward in Smite 2. They once again mentioned tanks not being tanky late game and are still playtesting things internally to solve this. Potentially could launch as soon as OB4, but if not then likely soon after that. They said they're relatively happy with the implementation of the side-to-side teleporters, and any changes will likely be small tweaks such as a cooldown increase or cost to use them, and they likely aren't going to be removed anytime soon. I'll just cry in a corner for a few hours about this later. I'm an avid teleporter hater. They mentioned unleashed jungle camps and said they're unlikely to come back in the way they were in Smite 1. It causes issues such as junglers having no jungle available in the early game and starts being so optimized to where if you didn't know the optimal level 1 start, you fell so far behind that it practically lost you the game on the spot, which was really bad for the new player experience. They did seem more open to a similar but reworked system, or allowing unleashed camps only in certain areas, like they currently do for the corner harpy camps and roaming harpies. Match of the day modes are still on the radar. Omnipotence is pretty far along and will likely be the first one to launch, but in the early days of MOTD, it likely won't be an always on queue with a new one each day. Also like a weekend event where Omnipotence is available and then shut off for a while. And finally, a quick one, the next god after Barry, so god 2 of OB5, will be a mage. My speculation is Scylla, as they've mentioned her before that they want to get her in now that the push to 50 is done, but it could be some other mage as well. But that's everything major that was discussed on Friday 14th's Titan Talk. Let me know your own thoughts down below and I'll catch you guys for another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.